What's going on, YouTube? It's Sensei, the place to be chosen. Mr. A&E, back with another Friday Night Smackdown review for October 14th, 2022. A good lineup that we have for Smackdown. We have a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship. For a number one contender shot for the Intercontinental Championship. Bray Wyatt does indeed return tonight. And a lot of other cool things happen on SmackDown tonight. So I thought it was a very decent episode and good episode of SmackDown. So now this weekend, I figured I would try to get this review out really quickly because it's my wife's birthday, so we're gonna be celebrating that and stuff like that. So but I was like, we'll get SmackDown and we're gonna talk about it and everything like that. So we kick off SmackDown backstage outside in the parking lot area because there's been apparently been a car crash that happened, and we see that Karrion Kross and Scarlett had been this car crash. Like there's some blood come from Scarlett's nose and then Karrion Kross's head, stuff like that, and then as the ambulance is out there trying to get them together, so Drew McIntyre comes out and attacks Karrion Kross. Starts beating him down, slamming his head on the truck, and tries to slam his head into the car door before security finally comes and breaks it up. That's how SmackDown kicks off. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And I was sitting there thinking to myself, because I'm like, the Fatal 4-Way matchup for the number one contendership, for the number one contender spot for Gunther. It had Solo Sikoa, it had Sheamus, Karrion Kross, and Ricochet, and I was just like, well, we know Sheamus is not going to win again, but do they really want him losing again? Solo's part of the bloodline. You can't have Solo lose in the bloodline. Karrion Kross can't lose, so the only one that's going to be losing is Ricochet. You know what I'm saying? But the question is, so I thought it was either going to go between Solo or Karrion Kross type thing, but I was just like, but do they really want Karrion Kross to lose to Gunther? Because Gunther can't lose yet. The only person Gunther should be losing to is Sheamus at Mania. Okay? So I was just like, maybe this is a way to write him out in a way to keep the storyline between him and Drew going. So I can understand that as well. So, but the first matchup we start off with is Sami Zayn taking on Kofi Kingston. The New Day is already out there, and then Sami Zayn sitting talking backstage with Solo. And then he was like, we're waiting for, unreliable people. Then Jey Uso shows up. When Jey Uso shows up, he's sitting there like, well, where's Jimmy? He said, Jimmy has some fan base to take care of. He said, well, it's fan base, you would have told me. But he said, no, real family. Okay? But then Roman calls, and then he talks to Sami on his phone. Then he talks to Jey, and then you can tell Jey, we talking about something. Yeah, I told him to make sure it would, but he said he wouldn't help, so what? All right, but yeah, so he was talking like that. But Roman Reigns want to make sure that Sami wins tonight. So Sami versus Kofi Kingston is the first matchup, and like I said, for the time it was a pretty decent matchup because it's Sami and Kofi Kingston. You're not going to have a bad match with that, really. So at the end sequence, like Sami's going for the Blue Thunder bomb, but Kofi rolls through, and as he's pinning Sami Zayn, Jey Uso comes in and kicks the roll back over to momentum for Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn wins the matchup. So Sami wins here. Jey Uso made sure the honorary Uso won the matchup. Backstage, we see Triple H dealing with the fallout of that car accident, talking to the officers right there, and then Rey Mysterio pops up. So Rey Mysterio pops up, and he goes to Triple H, and he just says, look, everything that's been happening on Raw, I can't deal with it no more. Okay, seeing what's happening with Dominic, and him trying to want him to fight me, and him talking about face and hit me, slap me, all the shit that Dominic is doing, he says that I can't do this anymore. Like, in terms of, I can't relate, but I'm saying I sympathize with you though. But he's like, ever since whole time is I will not fight my son no matter what he does and says to me. I won't fight him. I'm not going to do it. And because he keeps begging him to hit me, and he says, so I came to you, I talked to you eye to eye, like a man. I'm gonna tell you that I quit. The way Triple H reacted to that was just like, oh my God. He just, oh my God. He ain't just quit on me. Triple H got flashback like, hold on, I'm not Tony Khan. We ain't gotta do all this backstage stuff. No, come. You ain't gotta leave. Come back. But I'm saying, I know it was all storyline though. But he was just like, look, let's not be rational. Just give me 5 minutes. Come into my office and just give me 5 minutes. And I was like, okay. Because after a while, I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, I know they probably want to get to Rey versus Dominic at Mania. Okay? But right now, we're still in October, and we got November, December, January, February, March, then beginning of April. We got all that time to build up to that. So we got to, instead of keep doing tag matches and mixed tag matches, stuff like that, you got to have Judgment Day move on to something else. and then come back to the Edge and Mysterio and stuff like that thing. So we already wrote out Edge Would I Quit and Beth Phoenix, and then we already found a way to get rid of Mysterio, which I'll tell you how it's going to happen. And then now they're doing Judgment Day in the OC right now. Okay, so they can feud for that for a while as well. So I was like, okay, so we will see necessarily where this goes. Also backstage is Cora Jade talking to Shotzi. I'm just sitting there like, well, why is Cora? Excuse me, not Cora Jade. Roxanne Perez is back to talking to her. Then Raquel Gonzalez coming in. She says, hey, you got the Halloween Havoc coming on Tuesday because that's going to be the war again, right? It's going to be NXT and going against AEW. So he was just like, but she was just like, Cora's changed. That's my old partner. She said, yeah, that's exactly why I'm here because see, I got Roxanne Perez. I got to pick your poison, and I can choose anybody for Cora Jade to go up against. So I want to pick you. So Raquel Gonzalez and Rodriguez, and she was like, cool, if you want to. But then Damage Control comes to the bank, talk about some. Well, Bayley says, hey, well, really, you should have picked me. And then Roxanne said, I was going to pick you, but you're kind of on a losing streak. And then Bayley just sent the look over like, well, you're not even on my level because she's short, stuff like that. So we're going to get ourselves a 6-woman tag match later on tonight. Player. Handicap match of Braun Strowman against these two jobbers. He sit there and just squash these guys, but then who comes in from the crowd with the K&G Superstore suit on? It is Omos. Omos comes walking down with MVP. I was just like, I missed her business. They about tired of hearing me cry and bitch about her business. But you know what? I'm like, if MVP is 2 times of a manager, that'd be wasted. And I said, give Omos something to do. And I finally, since Braun Strowman came back, I was like, okay, so Omos can have y'all can have a Giants match between Omos and Strowman. The match ain't supposed to be good. Just so y'all know, right? It ain't supposed to be no 5-star. These are 2 big ass motherfuckers that can barely move sometimes. I'm saying, well, I mean, actually, they can move better than Great Khali, obviously, but this ain't supposed to be a great matchup. Because even still at the end, Braun Strowman power slams one of the jobbers, and then he tries to power bomb him, and it looked like he struggled with the power bomb. Like, Strowman, even if he ain't jump, I see Kevin Nash deadlift Mysterio into a jackknife powerbomb. I'm just like, bro, how not strong is Strowman? But whatever the case may be, he got the guy up and then powerbombed him on his partner, and then pinned him, and then Omos just stared down Strowman. So that may be a crown jewel type thing. I can see them just doing a giant versus giant thing, a crown jewel. It may be a Survivor Series type thing. I don't know. Other than the War Games, if it's just going to be a Raw versus SmackDown thing, minus the War Games, or whatever the case may be. But I think one of them 2 shows, especially if it's going to be like 2 shows in November, that will be where it'll probably happen at. So as we go to the back, we get Sami Zayn talking to Solo, and they talk about how he won the matchup, but Jey Uso was like, saying, you welcome Uso, you welcome honorary Uso. And he said, what are you talking about? I did this by myself. And Solo was just like, yeah, I ain't seen nothing. I was sitting there paying attention to Zayn. You know what I'm saying? As Zayn trying to get hyped up for Solo's match, Jay was just sitting there like, what the is happening right now? I feel you, Jay. I feel you, bro. Like, what is going on right now? So that's an interesting take that now. It's like everybody's against Jey Uso in the bloodline. Like, they don't see Jimmy's not there. Solos are all in it. Sammy's like, I didn't see what kind of help that you gave me. Roman Reigns is sitting there talking about something. Make sure the honorary Uso wins. Now I'm really curious to see how this whole storyline is going to play out. But now it's time for LA Knight, against Mansoor, right? Because it's Masace and Mansoor. Yeah. So he goes in there. Basically, it's a glorified squash match. It's LA Knight beats Mansoor, and then but he swears everybody on the mic and gets them because everybody's cheering. LA Knight came out there, but he comes out there and goes straight heel on the microphone. It doesn't need any. You got did you call them sweat hogs like Rick Rude? I can't remember what he said, but he tells them he doesn't need anybody. You think I did that win for you? I did that for me. And I'm putting everybody know. Mark the date that LA Knight's putting you guys on notice. Yeah. And then walks out. So LA Knight, great person to have there on the roster. So They still promote Bray Wyatt the show. Even though they keep saying Bray Wyatt was up next, I'm like, he's not. He's going to be the main event. I know, so it makes you to stay tuned and check out for, the rest of SmackDown. 6-woman tag Damage Control taking on Raquel Rodriguez, Shotzi, and Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez is really good. I'm gonna say it right now. She's really good, and I still think she needs to be in NXT. You know what I'm saying? Because just because you wrestle good, you still gotta learn a lot more in NXT than that. But she's been doing really, really good. And this matchup was okay. The finish came when Bayley was she trying to go for the Bayley suplex or whatever it was, and then Roxanne tried to roll her up, but then Bayley rolled her up and then gets the count. I was like, Bayley can't lose 3 times in a row. She really can't. Y'all might as well just cancel the Damage Control of Bayley losing 3 times in a row. I'm sorry. So Bayley wins the matchup and gives Damage Control some more heat after that. So now we get Hit Row taking on Legado del Fantasma. So one thing I liked about this is they talked about the rivalry that Hit Row had with Legado del Fantasma back in NXT, because they never finished the rivalry, to be honest with you. It's just that Hit Row got called up out of nowhere, and then they had to force them to finish everything, because the last thing they know, they got beat up and kidnapped, and when we never saw Hit Row again in NXT until they came to SmackDown. And then now Swerve is going so down, it's different. So now it is Legado del Fantasma coming there, and so they mentioned that. I like the continuation on that. If this is going to be a continuation in a rivalry going forward, Hit Row needs to find another member. I understand the OG3 thing like that, and I love B-Fat being back. But with Legado del Fantasma, when you do have Selena Vega there also, it's a stable. Okay, Hit Row is more of a tag team with a manager. You need a stable. And I don't know what the plan is right now. Like once again, I know a popular opinion, but I still think Carmelo Hayes will be the better one to come, because that he was the one who took out their original leader in Swerve and took the North American Championship from them. He swerved. Okay, if y'all remember that. Remember, Swerve beat Bull Dempsey. Not Bull Dempsey. God, thick boy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Bronson Reed. Shit. I could not think of Bronson Reed. He beat Bronson Reed. And then right after it was Carmelo Hayes came in with the Money in the Bank and beat Swerve and took the North American Championship. That's how that thing happened. So I can see Carmelo Hayes coming in and doing that, and then evening this thing up. But we gotta see how it goes. Right now it was a simple tag team matchup. Nothing too noteworthy here. But Legado del Fantasma does get the win by doing their finishing move on Top Dollar. So it was just there. And like I said, it was more of a. The match ain't really lasted long. What, about 3-4 minutes? So I'm saying, obviously the first one is to get some heat behind Legado del Fantasma. But we're gonna see how it goes afterwards. Sonya Deville's back. She's talking with Kayla Braxton about season opportunity against Alba Fyre NXT. I'll talk more about that when it comes to the midweek wrestling review that me and Prime probably going to do this weekend, because we get a chance to do it on Thursday, but probably be part of the podcast. And then all of a sudden, she says talking about Liv Morgan, but Liv has been getting opportunity, and she keeps failing. And Deville said Liv had a chance to solidify her title at Extreme Rules and prove she deserves it, but she got destroyed by Ronda Rousey. And then she said Liv doesn't have it. And then so she says she's nothing but a whiny. And also Liv Morgan attacks Sonya Deville and starts beating the shit out of Sonya Deville and slam her head on stuff like that. And puts her on the table, climbs up this little railing, and does her senton through. She loved doing this senton through the table and takes out Deville, and she's just looking crazy as ever. I was like, okay, that makes Liv Morgan look cool. Fatal 4-way matchup for the number one contendership for Gunther's Championship. Now, Karrion Kross was not able to participate, but they said we got a replacement, and the replacement is Rey Mysterio, because now when Triple H talked to Rey Mysterio, he said, we're just going to move you over to the SmackDown brand. We can't have Rey Mysterio retire. We're going to move you over to the SmackDown brand, and now Rey Mysterio is in the matchup for the Intercontinental Championship. So I was like, cool, because first of all, I love Rey on SmackDown. There are certain people that's synonymous with SmackDown, like there's certain people that's synonymous with Raw. And I understand, we got to switch it up and make things fresh. But like Mysterio, that's a SmackDown dude. Kurt Angle will always be a SmackDown guy to me. Undertaker will always be SmackDown. Edge will always be SmackDown. AJ Styles is always SmackDown. You know, there's certain things like that. When Stone Cold comes back, it's always Raw. You know what I'm saying? Oh, whenever he does kind of appearances, Randy Orton, it can flop. I like Randy Orton on Raws. Lesnar always gonna be Raw. You know what I'm saying? There's certain superstars or wrestlers that go on each show that are just synonymous with that show. You know what I'm saying? So, but the Fatal 4-Way matchup was a good Fatal 4-Way matchup. And it's the first time that Mysterio and Sheamus ever got into the ring together. So I thought it was fresh. You know, I like seeing like little fresh matchups and stuff like that. And at first, you know, they were trying to get their footing together because they haven't, you know, worked together and stuff like that. Even when what was it, Zayn fell to the Sheamus fell to the outside. Sami tried to beat up Sheamus, and then along with the James pulled Sami off, he started beating up Sheamus. Then here come the Brawl and Bruce coming out, and then they fight them off. Ricochet and Rey Mysterio's in the ring. They do a stare off. Everybody's like, "Oh, let's get this stuff going." They had a great exchange, and for Rey Mysterio being 47 years old, I believe that exchange with Ricochet was really good. Ricochet was hitting all his spots and things like that. So when after Sheamus gives Solo like you know the beats on the chest, and they like he really like beats the shit out of him in his chest, stuff like that. He goes to the outside, but then Ray and Ricochet are in the ring. Ray about to go for 619. Ricochet catches it, and then Ray turns it to like a reverse poison rana from the front, because Ricochet's like pulling him up like this, and he gets slammed. He sells it really well. It then goes into the 619 position, gets 619, then a frog splash. Rey Mysterio is now your new #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship against Gunther. Fresh matchup. I think it'll be good for Gunther because Rey Mysterio will put Gunther over, but it'll be something different for Rey Mysterio to do. New match, stuff like that. I loved everything about it. It was a good Fatal 4-Way matchup. But the main event is Bray Wyatt. So Bray Wyatt comes to the ring. He comes to the door with the lantern. He's just wearing all black, like black jeans and a black shirt and everything like that. And he comes to the ring, and it's a very different. There's no Fiend. There's no Jim Jones Bray Wyatt. There's no Eater Worlds, Eater of Pins. It's just, he said, I want to talk to the heart real quick. They still kept the lights dark and dim. But he was saying, he got really, really personal. And he talked, he talked to the microphones. He said, the past year, a lot of things happened in his life. He lost a lot of things. And he said, I never knew that what I did was important, but you guys let me know that it really is. And he talked about he lost two very personal people. And he's like, I know, obviously one of them is Brody Lee, obviously. And he talks about he lost his career, he lost his self-confidence. And he said, I could be a little bit nervous. He was emotional about this stuff. And then he said he lost his way. He got to the point where he thought that everything he ever done in WWE was meaningless. From Husky Ass to Bray Wyatt, everything the Fiend was meaningless. It never mattered to anyone, but he was wrong. And he said, man, it mattered to us, the fans out there, and kept coming to him and talked about how he when you're going to come back and we miss you, to help build his confidence and things like that. And then he said, because it was in a time of need, I lost people that were close to me. I lost my self-confidence, felt weak, felt vulnerable, in a wicked state. But I found your words, and I want to say thank you. You saved my life. And like I say, you never know what can make somebody, make or break. I would say, the whole way Fiend was booked, the whole way Vince just fired him, Brody Lee, Bray went through a lot in that 2020. A lot. And I was just like, this makes no... I felt bad for him. I really felt bad for him. But he said, the fans wouldn't leave him alone. He tried to get away and hide. Every time he did that, he found a way to find him and pull him out and everything like that. And then he says, this Wyatt mark appeared up on the screen. Then you see the whole black foam mask with Wyatt. Then it's like a distorted voice, and then it was forgot what did he say. He says, you have no idea who you are dealing with. oh, but you will. And then, oh, but you will as it laughs. Bray Wyatt is doing a multiple personality type gimmick. I can get with that. I can get, like, even though the Fiend was multiple personality. You had Mr. Rogers, Bray Wyatt, and then you had the Fiend. But I'm just saying, but this is like, I'm going to be a real, Bray Wyatt thing, but this is what the story thing is. And it left on a cliffhanger. I'm interested. So that was SmackDown. And when it comes to SmackDown, SmackDown gets a thumbs up for me. It was a really good show. I really enjoyed that. You can post any comments down below. How did you guys enjoy about SmackDown? What did y'all guys think of the Bray Wyatt speech at the end? I thought it was very emotional. I thought it was really good. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my review. Hit the subscribe button for more WWE content, wrestling content, right here on Nerd Coalition Studios. So once again, it's NCM place to be. Show Mr. A&D, and the Nerd Coalition is out.